You can see that for safety reasons, I have fused every cell. So if one cell misbehaves, he's going to take himself out of the pack. And then all that comes to one 300 amp BMS. So he's watching, you know, these 6s are in parallel, so there's one voltage. So he's looking at the voltage for each bank. And as long as they stay in the right range and we don't exceed 300 amps, this guy just lets everything work.
And you have current sensors on there somewhere? Or?
There's the Victron shunt is on the wall over there.
Yeah, okay. That is.
And he has does his own shunting too.
Okay, and so how much power, how much energy can you store on this?
This is 24 kilowatt hours.
Wow. Okay. And what charge range do you run these through? You know, full down and then up, or
with lithiums, I've done many years of work with lithiums, and they talk about a cycle with a lithium. If you take it below 20%, or you charge above 90%, you stress the cell. Okay. And when they talk about charge cycles, like a lot of batteries will have a lifespan of 500 charge cycles.
But that's only staying between 20 and 90?
No, that's 500 stressings.
Oh, okay.
If you stay, in an ideal world, if you stay 80-20, that battery will outlive you.
Okay. And do your charge controllers do this for you?
Yes. And I found with the solar, just adjusting the absorption voltage will set that for me.
Oh, wow. Okay. That is, yes. All right.
So if you set, like these, the pack at 14.6 volts is fully charged. So if I set my absorption to 14, I can never reach full charge.
Set absorption. So, okay.
Set absorption low.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So how much does that weigh, you think? Do you know how much
This whole thing weighs half of what, or I think I calculated half of the lead acids that I pulled out of here. So each one of these is 5.5 kilograms, and there's 24 of them. So just the cells alone weigh 291 pounds. Look.
Do you have compression on those?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So if you can't see, there's a threaded bar.
Threaded bars.
And this is a spacer keeping them apart.
Yeah, okay.
I can actually pop that out. But I have 2 bars over here, 2 bars in the middle, and 2 bars on this side.
So the compression is just from the top?
The compression is from the sides. I'm compressing it like this.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so how do you achieve the compressions at full length? Is there another bar running?
So these are all thread.
Yep.
So the bar, it runs all the way from, there's a board here and a board here.
And they run down the middle
and it runs between the cells.
Okay, yep.
And this keeps the cells apart so they're not going to rub that rod.
Yep.
And with this opening, I couldn't make this whole thing and slide it in here. So I literally made the battery box in parts, and I slid it in, bolted it to the floor. So this is hard bolted in. And then put my back on, and then packed my batteries in. Put my front on, set it all up, did my compression, and then put my bus bars and everything on.
Wow. And you say you fused the bus bars on?
See, look, there's a 60 amp fuse at every cell.
Those are fuses. Oh.
And these, I drilled my holes wrong, and it didn't fit on the fuses, so that's why they're tilted like this.
Ouch.
I have new bars that I'm going to go and change that out.
The little blue blobs, little blue...
These?
Yeah, what are those?
Those are expansion windows. So if you look at the foil lines in here...
Yep, you can see them come up and down a little bit.
No. If the pack misbehaves internally, and because this is in compression, right? He can't go anywhere but up and down.
Yeah.
And the bottom's hard. It is designed to come up through that thing. So if these lines crack ever, that cell is bad, and you need to get rid of it.
Okay, so, but that is allowing it to expand up. I don't know about
how these are built. They don't expand up. It's a tall
Okay.
sheet this
Yep.
way that's coiled up.
All right.
That's why you put them in
This way,
compression.
okay.
Because when you charge them,
If the
they
sheet-
swell this way.
If the sheet ruptures, that's when it can go up.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's what I'm
And
trying to-
being lithium iron phosphate, it will smoke more smoke than you've ever seen in your life. But it does not catch fire. There's no flame.
No. Okay. And your smoke detectors will squeal already.
Right.
Are you so ventilation down there? Do you
I
have
don't.
any?
Okay, it's what's built in. Look,
Yeah,
there's a little thing here.
Got one of those too.
It's just what was built into the compartment.
There's a massive cross beam blocking everything in
That
there.
is the structural beam of the
yes,
boat.
yes,
Yes.
And as far as I can tell, that blocks a lot of the like.
No, mine has a gap between the top of the beam and the settee, about that much.
Yep.
So that lets the air over. But
Alright.
okay, I've thought about that stuff too. But what I have found out since installing all of this is when you get a battery pack this large, I cannot put enough energy in or out of this for the battery cell itself to produce heat.
Because you're just not doing
This
that
is a
fast.
300 amp hour cell. For this cell to produce heat, I have to charge this cell, charge or discharge that cell at 200 amp hours. I can't do that when I have 6 in parallel. No way in hell. I have them fused at 60.
Do they still use the C charge rates?
Yes,
on
everything
it?
is based on a C,
Okay.
1C.
All right, 1C.
And 1C is the amp hour of
Yep,
the C
yep,
is the
yep.
amp hour of the battery.
Okay.
That runs with this, so I can see it on my phone.
So you can see. Oh,
This
nice.
bar,
Yep.
I have never seen that bar get over 50 C.
Nothing terrible.
When I'm running the air conditioner, this bar runs about 38 to 40 C. But it's the bar. I've got a thermal camera. So it's just a little PCB with a thermal camera on it
Yep.
that I point around.
Is this running everything? Is this your starting for the boat, or so?
No, so I have normal flooded lead acid for
Okay.
each starter. And then and like you were saying, there was no battery up there. I stuck a lawnmower battery up there to help it out.
Nice. So are they isolated?
They are now. Now here, I tell people I do this, but I always have to caveat it highly. You've got to know what you're doing. Is I have one of these 3-ways that I can bridge one or both of my alternators into this. But you've got to know when and when not to turn that on.
Because you're protecting all these guys. What's
No.
the issue?
The issue is voltage spikes on the alternator. So when the alternator is alternator is a inductive source. So when the alternator is putting out even say 50 amps, right?
Yep.
And it's sinking into this battery pack. If I go and just flip that switch off, it wants 50 amps to go somewhere now.
And-
so what it does is the voltage goes out the roof
Yep.
until 50 amps flows. It's going to cook something.
So if you drop the engine quickly, will it do it? If you slow down, if you drop it slowly.
No, just shut the engine off.
Just shutting the engine
Well,
off.
okay,
Well,
but I know how these work.
Yeah.
Is my off switch? I don't have, because these are all mechanical.
Right.
I don't have to turn the engine off. I turn the off switch off, turns the alternator off.
Ah.
Engine's still running. I can turn my alternator off from the panel up here and go flip the switch if I need to.